Okay, Sunday the 28th day of January, 4:53 p.m. It's been real windy here all day. I went in the woods a little while, boys, and I come out there because it was dangerous. And believe it or not, I got a tick crawling on me in the woods in January on my hand. I'll show that. I'll show the clip right after this here. Look at there. Damn January. Goddamn tick on my ass up here. Look at there. This video is going to be about this Arken scope EPL-4 6x24-50. Okay? Now, leaves off squirrel hunting. This scope does a very, very good job. Okay, you won't need no backlight hunting, you know, after the sun gets up pretty good on overcast, partly cloudy days. Alright? Now you can still use it if you wanted to. To give you an idea about this reticle, maybe people have been watching my videos shooting heads on squirrels. Out to, I don't know, I'm going to say 75 yards. You would never need to use this scope over 9 power on a squirrel headshot. Okay? 150 yards. You would probably never use this scope over 12x. So for 22 long rifle, probably the HMR and the 17 HM2, you'll probably never dial this scope in the woods over 12x. That's shooting coyotes or shooting squirrels. It's got a dot in the center. This scope for the money is definitely worth it. I wouldn't be using it, you know. I've got more expensive scopes, but I'm using this one. The backlight adjustment on this, I like. It's simple. I also like that box on that parallax. I usually leave it setting about right in there. Now, the parallax on this scope compared to that Element Nexus, and even compared, of course, I've got a Night Force that only goes to 10 power, but I've got some other scopes too that goes higher than that, and I've had some other models that I've sold. Parallax on this scope is sort of touchy. So if you dial it up in the magnification somewhat, like to 10 or 12x, you're going to have to, for hunting purposes, that's the reason why I like to run it at about 9x, okay? I probably wouldn't ever use this scope at 6x. I don't like the way the reticle looks. The reticle looks better. It gives me more of what's going on with that dot in the middle. Starting at about 8. 9 is my preference. Paper punchers, I think you'll like this scope, okay, for 22 long rifles, there's no doubt. At 60 yards, 12x on this scope looks awfully good. Okay. To shoot the lines on them targets that I shoot. To check my zero on this HM2 setup here. Okay, now you can dial it higher than that. Eye position, well, it's probably pretty tight compared to some of the other scopes I've looked at, but you know, you get used to it. I have had scopes that are a little more forgiving than this one, and the parallax not quite as touchy. But you pay more for them scopes generally. The weight of this scope is not bad for a 50mm objective. Okay. Side turret is covered, which I like, because then there's no inadvertent knocking it off, and you know, the top turret is, you get to see it more, you know, when you're looking, you know, looking at the gun, using the gun. It's got nice sound to these turrets. Nice and crisp. Does have zero stop on this one here on the top, the elevation. Okay. Fast focus eyepiece. I give $329 for this, I guess, during a sale or a promotion. I bought 2 of them. Very good buy for the money. Now, they've went up. I noticed that looking on their website, they've got a backlog, meaning delay, and I guess to satisfy the buying public. What does that tell you? They're not a hoax. You know, you're always going to have some people out there, you know, that's got those night forces and some of those vortexes, you know, higher dollar. Oh, this is a hoax. This ain't worth a shit. Well, you put a good rifle shooter behind that scope right there versus a not so good shooter behind a more expensive scope on a rifle, well, the best shooter is probably going to win using that scope. Now, bright sunshine, brighter days. Well, all first focal plane scopes, you know, can have some trouble there. And your more expensive scopes, generally, you know, the lenses are better in them. They'll probably give a better picture. I see that with this scope. But for the money, it's still a good buy. You will be using the sunshade on this scope in brighter sunlight conditions during the summer months, for sure. Okay, I've used this scope some in the summer, and I've looked through it. But for wintertime hunting, boys, I'm telling you, this is a real deal right here. Okay? And I'm not trying to sell you one. I don't care if you ever buy one or not. Now, that level on there is a Arken level. It is superior to the Vortex level. What am I talking about? This Arken level has a pivot point in it. It's going to be hard for you to see on that camera. It's right down in there. It doesn't pinch the scope like the Vortex. I've got a Vortex, and then I had another one. I threw it in a garbage can. Okay, poor design. This right here is the real deal. Okay, I can say that with 1,000% certainty. All right. So if you want to pick you up an Arken level or 2, I've ordered a couple of more myself. I've got one I'm going to play with on an air rifle, and maybe another 17 Mach 2 or an HMR. I ain't made my mind up yet. So that's going to do it. That's the lowdown on that scope. No bullshit. I'm not trying to sell you anything. If you're on a limited budget and you want a scope to punch paper and you want a scope to hunt with, this would definitely be one of the scopes that would get my vote. I hope you enjoyed.